Hello! In this video, we will present a proposal to implement project-based learning (PBL) in CLIL primary classes as part of the work carried out in the European project CLIL for Young European Citizens. Why did we choose to apply project-based learning in CLIL? In short, we could say that projects make it possible to exploit the full potentialities of CLIL. First, projects promote the integration of the content students need to acquire in their education. And this integration is not only integration between the different subjects learned at school, which is also important, but also between what they learn at school and the reality outside. Second, projects enhance the idea of learning by doing, which is probably one of the recipes for successful education and also which is so motivating for students. Projects should not be considered as mere additional activities. Projects are interesting per se. From the point of view of language, PBL places the focus on the most important elements, communication and meaning. Projects will allow students to make use of language in a way that will probably be closer to real language situations. This will be reinforced through virtual exchanges involving students from other countries. Successful PBL proposals bring together language and content, and students will be processing both at deeper cognitive levels, which has been demonstrated to be the most effective way of learning foreign languages. This is summarized in the following quotation by Wellington. In the PBL proposal presented here, we will see the procedure for building a sound filter at school. This activity is addressed at children between 10 to 12 years of age. Although it is accessible to children beyond 6, the aim is to make pupils aware of how a sound filter is an imitation of the natural process of cleaning water through the soil. It is important to note that this PBL lesson has a general orientation that makes it different from other proposals. Why talking about water and why making it a primary school? This will be the original point for this PBL. There are lots of proposals about sound filtration on the web. Why is this different? We are dealing, as teachers, with a first-order global problem: water scarcity and its consequences in a wide sense. The first thing we have to bear in mind when we implement this PBL at classroom is the idea that we are going to take care of water, because it is a limited resource and not everybody has it in the required quality and quantity, so it has direct effects on health, economy and education. What about children who need to spend a long time walking for water? What about population getting ill and losing life quality and expectations? These are also consequences of the water scarcity. Now that we have the initial idea, it's time to change to a teacher's perspective and develop the project as a teacher would do it. We have developed 4 sessions in the project. Session 1 consists of a warm-up activity to activate students' previous knowledge and to introduce the topic. In Session 2, students start preparing the experiments, which will be done in Session 3. Finally, Session 4 is a follow-up activity to share students' work, and it is up to you if you want to do it or not. As you can see, these short sessions are distributed in 3 weeks, but the total duration of the project is 2 hours. If you want to implement the optional session, it will take around 30 minutes more. Let's start with Session 1. This session is around 40 minutes long and it's divided into 2 steps. Step 1 consists of a brainstorming to elicit the 2 main problems that we are going to work through the project: scarcity of water and water pollution. For this, you can use different driving questions like: is water an unlimited resource? Can we have all the water that we want? Can we drink all types of water? Do you think that everybody has tap water at home? It would be useful to show some pictures like these ones to illustrate the discussion. After that, we can show our students a couple of videos to give them more information on the problems, which can make them reflect more on the topic. On the right, you can see the first video entitled "How far would you walk for water?" And on the left, you can see the video entitled "Water, Consider This," which encourages students to question the problems even more. We believe they are quite impressive and interesting videos, and you can check them out. After watching the videos in class, step 2 consists of discussing the two main problems that came up before, with the aim of finding a solution. Here, it would be ideal to introduce the concept of the perfect and natural filter, which is the soil. You can use this sentence to tie it all together. If water is the problem, nature is the solution. And to reproduce this perfect filter in class, we are going to build a sound filter. Now, it would be the perfect time to give a worksheet with instructions to the students so they can gather the materials for the next session and start familiarizing with the project. To involve families, we will prepare and distribute a note for the families, explaining the materials needed so that they can help their children collect them. Session 2 is the shortest. In this session, there is only one step, the presentation of the materials gathered at home. In this activity, students will present the materials and explain how they collect them. And we, as teachers, should try to highlight the importance of the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle, and environmentally friendly materials. After that, you will have to divide your students into groups, making sure that all groups have the materials, and together they will read the instructions carefully to know how to build a filter in the next session. As you know, it would be great if you could make the filter in advance to show your students the final result. We get now to session number 3, which is building the actual filter. You have 60 minutes for this. Before getting down to business, it is important to revise the material with your students. This would be a perfect opportunity to emphasize the use of quantifiers and make a distinction between countable and uncountable nouns. For this, you can ask these questions in the class. How many pieces of? How much of this material do we need? Do you think we can measure this material using the same units, such as liters of water, numbers of bottles, kilograms of sand, etc.? Once the materials are revised, it is time to work in groups. Students will have to formulate hypotheses, thinking about what is going to happen with the filter. For example, if the water mixed with leaves is filtered through sand, it will be cleaner. Finally, it is time to build a filter. As we have already said, if water scarcity is a problem, nature will be the solution. So, let's imitate nature. Without any doubt, the main idea children have to get out from this activity is the need for caring for nature and water. But in addition, we will be able to build a sound filter. What is it? In the picture, you can see 2 physical dispositions for filtering water. In both of them, the key is to make the water flow through a sand bed. In nature, water drains through different sand layers because these layers are the soil. This phenomenon is called percolation, and it removes a lot of impurities and dirt that would make us get ill. For this, we are going to reproduce the process with recycled materials, and we will try to clean water directly in our classroom, as well as nature makes it for us every day. The first step is to collect the materials. For this sound filter, we will need 2 plastic bottles, better if recycled. The big one will serve as the supporting device for the smaller one, which will be our filter. We will fill the filter with sand that can be collected, for example, at a public garden. The base of the filter will be made with a big bottle. Let's start! The first thing to do is to cut off the conical part of the big bottle, so it will settle perfectly. In the base of the bottle, we will make a cut with a circular shape, and we will cut the plastic to make at least 3 wings that will support the filter on the top of the big bottle. In addition, the conical part that we have removed can be placed in the cylinder so the stability is enhanced with the other bottle. Obviously, this will depend on the kind of bottle we are using. We can even make a long cut along the base for collecting clean water, once it has been drained through the filter. The filter will be the smaller bottle placed as seen in the picture. The bottom has to be removed with a knife or scissors, and the cap should be removed too. For the filling, we will use a sand mixture, but before pouring the sand into the small bottle, the sand will have to be separated into 3 fractions: the gravel, the medium, and the smaller one. This will be done with the help of 2 domestic sieves like this over there. Now, let's see what about our filter itself. At this point, we have the 3 sand fractions. Some of the biggest rocks will be placed filling the conical part of the bottle. Be careful not to totally block the water way out. This will be the draining layer that will support the rest of sand layers. On the top of these rocks, we will place the gauze. The purpose of this piece of cotton is to keep the finest sand out from the clean water. Otherwise, it would be stripped into the gravel fraction. Now you can fill your filter. First, the finest sand fraction, just 1 cm layer. Then, the medium-sized sand, 2 or 3 cm width. And finally, the gravel big sand fraction. It can take up to 4 cm width. Your filter is ready to work. Put it in the base and open slightly the cap. Although perhaps it is not necessary to remove it totally, during the first trials, the cap should be taken off for making the water flow easier. Before pouring dirty water through the filter, you can make it work with clean water, so the dust and other impurities the sand usually contains will be removed. Once the water is draining out clear and transparent, our filter is ready to receive dirty water. Let's try with different types of pollution. Rainfall water with big objects like leaves, piece of paper and similar things. Water with chemical pollution, like the one we release into the environment after washing the dishes. Water with small solid particles like clays or, if you want to try, flour in it. Or water with soluble pollutants like food dyes. Our filter will work in a different way with each type of water. But what if you try improving your filter? What other filling can enhance the removal of such pollutants? You'd better imitate nature, because very often nature is the answer. As homework, students will be asked to build a filter at home using other materials, again encouraging families' involvement. They will also have to record themselves, so everybody can see their work. Now you can decide if you want to finish your project here or if you want to do the optional session. Session number 4. This final step includes a virtual exchange. Its aim is to compare the filters made at home and share the videos online. You can even organize a contest with other peers. To do this, you can use online tools like Trello or Google Meet. This way, cultural aspects can also be discussed and introduced to the topic. Once the idea is clearly developed, you can now design your PBL lesson plan. A suggestion is to use the following template. You will have to write a short introduction, for instance, the one we have here, the water problem. From here, the local environment, to there, a global approach to water scarcity, pollution, and its consequences. A contextualization, the cross-curricular area would be environmental education. The topic, the 3 R's, and the age group, from 10 to 12 years old. And finally, the aims of the lesson. As we are working with PBL lesson planning in Clil, we distinguish between content and language aims, and we also take into consideration cognition and culture, following COIL's forces model. The main content aim of this lesson is to make pupils aware of water scarcity and pollution. In terms of language, we emphasize some vocabulary, function, and skills related to this topic. Finally, we highlight cognition and culture aims. As you can see in the slide, cognition relates to promoting the scientific method, formulating and testing hypotheses among our learners. And finally, the culture aim for this PBL lesson is to take part in virtual exchanges to discuss cultural aspects on water issues. Thanks for watching. We hope you have enjoyed this video. If you need more information, please check CLIL4YEC's website and subscribe to our channel.